Last month, a traveler stood at airport security and watched helplessly as TSA agents confiscated over $300 worth of toiletries from her bag. 3 days ago, a businessman missed his international flight, not because he was late, but because the airline gave away his seat to someone else. And just yesterday, a family of 4 paid $400 in overweight baggage fees for items they could have bought at their destination for less than $50. What do all these people have in common? They thought they knew how to travel. They'd flown dozens of times before, they considered themselves experienced. But they were making critical mistakes that cost them money, time, and turned their trips into nightmares. Here's what terrifies me. You're probably making these same mistakes right now, and you don't even know it. The travel industry, airlines, airports, even so-called expert travelers, they all benefit from keeping you in the dark about these costly errors. But not anymore. I'm about to expose the hidden traps that are sabotaging your travel plans, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to avoid every single one of them. And if you want to become the kind of traveler who breezes through airports while everyone else is stuck in chaos, hit that like button and subscribe right now. Because what I'm about to reveal could save you thousands of dollars and countless hours of stress on your next trip. Let's start with mistake number 1. And this one is so common, it's almost guaranteed you've done it before. The money pouch trap that makes you an easy target. Here's a question. Why would you put all your most valuable items in the smallest, easiest to lose container possible? Yet, millions of travelers do exactly this. They buy those fashionable little travel pouches, stuff their passport, cash, and cards inside, and think they're being security conscious. The reality, you've just created a thief's perfect target. Think about the logic here. You're already carrying a backpack and rolling a suitcase through a crowded airport. Now you're adding a third item to keep track of, except this one is tiny, easy to drop, and screams, "I'm carrying valuables." Even worse, if you lose your main luggage, there's a decent chance someone will turn it into lost and found. But that little pouch, it vanishes without a trace along with your passport, credit cards, and any hope of getting on your flight. Professional pickpockets love these pouches because they're designed to be grabbed quickly. Instead, keep your essential documents in a secure, zippered interior pocket of your main bag. Or better yet, use a hidden travel belt that sits against your body. Your valuables should be boring and invisible, not advertised in a cute little package. The check-in gamble. You can't afford to take, let me paint you a scenario. You arrive at the airport feeling confident, ready to check in at the counter like you always do. Except this time, the agent tells you with an apologetic smile that your flight is oversold, and since you didn't check in online, you've been bumped to a flight 6 hours later, or tomorrow, or next week. This isn't a rare occurrence. Airlines routinely oversell flights because they know some passengers won't show up. The question is, who gets bumped when everyone actually arrives? The answer is simple. The people who didn't check in online. When you check in online, you're sending a signal that you're committed, confirmed, and already in the system. You get first dibs on available seats, you can choose your position strategically, and in many cases, you can head straight to security without wasting time at the check-in desk. Some airlines even offer perks like early boarding or complimentary upgrades to passengers who check in first. The travelers who skip this step, they're gambling with their entire itinerary, and the house always wins. The £2 fee that could buy you a week's worth of toiletries. Picture this nightmare. You're standing at the check-in counter, and the scale shows your bag is exactly £2 over the limit. The agent quotes you a fee that makes your jaw drop, sometimes $75, $100, or even more for a single extra pound. Now, you're frantically unzipping your suitcase in front of a growing line of annoyed passengers, trying to decide what to sacrifice. Here's the insane part. Most of that overweight is completely unnecessary. A full-size bottle of shampoo weighs about 12 ounces. Add conditioner, body wash, shaving cream, and deodorant, and you're looking at close to 3 pounds of liquids alone. That overweight fee could buy you those same products 3 times over at your destination. Smart travelers weigh their bags at home using a simple luggage scale. They pack travel-sized toiletries or plan to purchase them after arrival. They avoid the embarrassment, the stress, and the unnecessary expense of repacking their underwear next to strangers while their flight boards without them. Your dignity is worth more than a full-size shampoo bottle. The seat selection research that separates experts from amateurs. Imagine settling into your seat for an 8-hour flight, only to discover you're wedged against the bathroom wall with a seat that doesn't recline, no power outlet, and a constant parade of passengers bumping past you all night long. You paid the same price as everyone else, but your experience is dramatically worse. The crazy thing? This was completely avoidable. Most passengers just accept whatever seat the airline assigns or pick randomly without understanding the layout. But flight veterans know better. Websites like Seat Guru provide detailed maps of virtually every aircraft configuration, showing you which seats have extra legroom, which ones don't recline, which are near noisy galleys or cramped lavatories, and which have no window at all. Some seats are genuinely terrible due to proximity to bathrooms or galleys, reduced legroom, or missing windows. Others are hidden gems with extra space or better amenities. A few minutes of research before selecting your seat can mean the difference between arriving refreshed or arriving miserable. The information is free and publicly available. The only question is whether you'll use it. The plastic wrap. Nightmare. Nobody warns you about airport luggage wrapping stations are everywhere, and travelers line up to pay $15 to $25 to have their bags encased in industrial plastic wrap. The pitch sounds good. Protect your luggage from scratches, deter thieves, keep zippers closed. What they don't mention is that you've just created a potential disaster. Imagine you're at the check-in counter and suddenly realize your passport is buried in your checked bag. Now you need to access it immediately, but first, you have to destroy the expensive plastic wrap you just paid for, using whatever tool you can find to tear through multiple layers of heavy-duty film while other passengers wait impatiently behind you. Beyond the inconvenience, plastic wrap creates issues for security personnel if they need to inspect your bag. It's terrible for the environment, generating huge amounts of single-use plastic waste. And flight attendants have openly expressed frustration with these wrapped bags because they slow down the entire boarding process. If you want real protection, invest in a TSA-approved lock and a durable, reusable luggage cover. Your bag stays protected, you maintain easy access when needed, and you're not contributing to mountains of plastic waste. The security line strategy that saves. 20 minutes. You've made it through passport control, and now you're facing the security checkpoint. Like most travelers, you immediately head toward the first security lane you see, joining a massive line that snakes around the barriers. You resign yourself to a long wait, shifting your weight from foot to foot, watching the minutes tick away. Meanwhile, experienced travelers are walking past you. Here's what they know. Airports typically have multiple security lanes, and the ones farthest from the entrance are often significantly less crowded. Most passengers are tired, overwhelmed, or simply follow the crowd to the first checkpoint they encounter. But if you walk an extra 50 to 100 feet down the hallway, you'll frequently find nearly empty lanes processing passengers in a fraction of the time. This isn't insider knowledge reserved for frequent flyers. It's basic observation that most people skip because they're on autopilot. The next time you approach security, pause for 30 seconds to scan all available options. That brief delay could save you 20 minutes of standing in line, and possibly save your flight if you're running late. The liquid rules that still catch everyone you know. The rule by heart. Liquids must be 3.4 ounces or less, contained in a single quart-sized clear bag. You've flown dozens of times, so you've got this covered. Except you don't, because you just packed a half-empty 8-ounce bottle of expensive moisturizer in your carry-on. Every single day, security agents confiscate thousands of dollars worth of liquids from travelers who either forgot what they packed or didn't understand the actual rule. Here's the critical detail that trips people up. Even if your bottle is only 1/3 full, if the container itself is larger than 3.4 ounces, security will confiscate it. They can't measure the contents, so they judge by the size of the bottle. That designer perfume you thought was fine because it's mostly empty? Gone. The expensive sunscreen you were planning to use all week? Tossed. The leftover contact solution from your last trip? In the trash. The solution is remarkably simple. Transfer products into travel-sized containers before you leave home, double-check your bags the night before your flight, and keep your liquids bag easily accessible at security. Your wallet will thank you, and you'll breeze through the checkpoint while others are arguing with agents about their confiscated shampoo. The duty-free trap. That makes you miss your flight. You've cleared security with time to spare, and suddenly you're in the duty-free zone, a glittering wonderland of perfumes, chocolates, alcohol, and souvenirs. The stores seem to stretch forever, each one more enticing than the last. You think you'll just browse for a few minutes, maybe pick up a gift or two. 2 hours later, you hear your name over the loudspeaker. Final boarding call. Airports design duty-free zones to be deliberately disorienting. They're massive, maze-like, and filled with sensory distractions specifically calculated to make you lose track of time. The layouts often require you to walk through retail areas just to reach your gate, maximizing the chances you'll stop and shop. This isn't an accident. Airports generate significant revenue from these retail spaces, and they've perfected the art of keeping you engaged in spending. Meanwhile, passengers regularly miss flights because they were testing fragrances or sampling whiskey while their boarding time came and went. The solution requires discipline. Set a phone alarm for 45 minutes before boarding, know exactly where your gate is before you start shopping, and treat duty-free as a quick stop, not a destination. That discounted perfume isn't a deal if it costs you a $250 rebooking fee. The pre-flight meal mistake. Your stomach will regret. There's always that tempting voice before a flight. When else will I get to try authentic Thai food at this airport? Or, I've always wanted to taste these spicy street tacos. Ignore that voice completely. Experimenting with unfamiliar, exotic, or heavily spiced foods right before flying is setting yourself up for hours of discomfort at 35,000 feet. Your digestive system doesn't know how it will react to new ingredients, unusual spice combinations, or rich sauces. And discovering you have an unfortunate reaction while trapped in a narrow metal tube with 200 other people is not the adventure you're looking for. The situation gets worse at altitude. Cabin pressure causes gases in your stomach to expand by up to 25%, which means even mild bloating on the ground becomes significant discomfort in the air. Foods that are high in salt, grease, or complex fibers can trigger severe indigestion, uncomfortable gas, and that awful feeling of needing to unbutton your pants while buckled into your seat. If you want to stay comfortable during your flight, eat something familiar and gentle on your stomach. Foods with natural anti-bloating properties, like ginger, pineapple, or bananas, are ideal. Save the culinary adventures for after you land, when you have easy access to a bathroom and aren't confined to a cramped seat for hours. The flight timing hack that defeats turbulence. If you're someone who dreads turbulence, here's a secret that could transform your flying experience. Timing is everything. The smoothest flights aren't random luck. They're scheduled at specific times of day when atmospheric conditions are naturally calmer. Turbulence is primarily caused by thermal air currents rising from the heated ground. When the sun warms the Earth's surface during the day, it creates unstable air pockets that rise and churn, making for a bumpy ride. The solution? Fly when the sun isn't heating things up. Early morning flights before the sun has had time to warm the ground tend to be significantly smoother. Late-night red-eyes offer similar benefits. Winter flights generally experience less turbulence than summer flights because there's less solar heating overall. These patterns are consistent and predictable. This doesn't guarantee you'll never hit a bumpy patch. Weather systems and jet streams can still create rough air, but statistically, you're dramatically reducing your chances of a rocky flight. If turbulence affects you significantly, this one scheduling adjustment can make flying far more comfortable. The hidden germ factory. Everyone touches. You don't need to be paranoid about germs, but there's one item at airports that's shockingly filthy, and almost nobody thinks about it. Those gray plastic bins at security checkpoints? Multiple scientific studies have tested these bins and found they carry more harmful bacteria than airport toilet seats. Think about why. Hundreds of people per hour place their worn shoes, used belts, sweaty phones, and dirty bags into these bins, which are rarely cleaned between uses. Then you place your belongings in the same bin, touch it with your hands, and later eat snacks without washing up. This isn't about being obsessive, it's about basic hygiene. The fix is incredibly simple. Carry a small bottle of hand sanitizer or antibacterial wipes in your carry-on. After going through security, clean your hands before touching your face or eating anything. If you want to go further, quickly wipe down your tray table and armrests after boarding. These 30 seconds of effort could be the difference between enjoying your vacation and spending it sick in bed. The jet lag solution. You're completely ignoring. Over 90% of long-distance travelers experience jet lag, yet most do absolutely nothing to prevent or minimize it. They stumble off the plane disoriented, waste their first day or two feeling miserable, and accept it as an inevitable part of travel. It doesn't have to be this way. Start adjusting before you even board. Change your watch to your destination's time zone as soon as you're at the airport. This psychological shift helps your brain start adapting earlier. During the flight, strategically manage your sleep. Rest for part of the journey, but force yourself to stay awake during periods that align with daytime at your destination. Hydration is absolutely critical. Airplane cabins have humidity levels around 10 to 20%, which is drier than most deserts. Dehydration amplifies jet lag symptoms dramatically. Drink water consistently throughout your flight and supplement with water-rich foods like melons, cucumbers, or citrus fruits. When you land, immediately align your activities with local time. If it's daytime at your destination, stay awake and get sunlight exposure, which helps reset your circadian rhythm. If it's night, rest even if you're not tired. Your body will adapt far more quickly with intentional effort than if you just hope for the best. Final thoughts. Travel smarter, not harder. Flying doesn't have to be the stressful, uncomfortable experience most people accept as normal. The difference between travelers who arrive relaxed and ready and those who land exhausted and frustrated often comes down to these small but crucial decisions made before and during the flight. You now know the mistakes that cost people money, comfort, and sometimes their entire trip. More importantly, you know exactly how to avoid them. The question is whether you'll actually implement these strategies on your next journey. If these tips helped you, share this with your travel companions. They'll thank you when they're not dealing with overweight fees, security delays, or turbulence-induced nausea. And remember, the best travelers aren't lucky. They're informed, prepared, and strategic. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next one.